Okay, guys, it's my birthday. We got a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of gaming stuff to go over. Drop a like, a comment, wish me happy birthday if you will. I appreciate that. But we got to talk about Mario Kart World from the perspective of someone who is a Mario Kart hater. No, I'm just joking. I'm not a Mario Kart hater, but I am someone who just don't think much of the series. I think Mario Kart games are fine, but they just never excited me. Those are games that I would play at my friend's house when I was growing up and have a good time there, but I never felt compelled to buy one of my own. The only ones I've ever owned was the first one on Super Nintendo, Mario Kart Wii U because it came with the bundle, and now I have Mario Kart World because it came with my Switch 2. And this is the first Mario Kart as someone who prefers other kart racers such as Diddy Kong Racing and Crash Team Racing. The reason I preferred those games is because the adventure mode, it just was so much extra single player content. And Mario Kart kind of just stuck to the cups, which are fine, but I just thought that wasn't enough for me once I experienced adventure modes in other games. So when I saw Mario Kart World, I'm like, oh, it's an open world now. They're like putting a new spin on the cups. This is going to be awesome. Well, I'm not going to say tricked or lied to by Nintendo. I misunderstood something. See, what I thought was that the game was open world, which it is, but I thought it was like open world and you drove to like where the cups are and then you started the race and then you did like the cup like that. That's not how this works. You go to the main menu and then you select the cup you want to run, and then it loads really fast. You pick the driver, it loads fast, and then you start your cup. And it's like any other Mario Kart game. The only difference is that now you have to drive from location to location. So instead of like you play on one track and then it loads to the next track, you drive to the next location. There is a break in between each track and middle section to the next track. I assume they did that because the Switch 2 can load fast. I don't think it has anything to do with the horsepower to Switch 2. I think they did that because they figured these races, like the whole cup, could last a long time. So after you beat in 3 laps, the game like not pauses, but it'll say, "Hey, do you want to go to the next race?" Or you could just sit at this like menu. And I think they did that to give people a break. I would like for them to put an update out or something in the menu to allow you, the player, to decide for it to just seamlessly keep going. Because I think that would have been cooler if they did something like that. And technically, they do that in another game mode. But just sticking to the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix is fun, coming for someone who doesn't like Mario Kart like that. There's a lot of things I'm still learning how to trick well, to drift the correct way, getting used to how you jump and flip off walls. I'm seeing people do crazy stuff on the internet that I don't know how to do, but so far I'm having fun just racing the NPCs, and that's something important to know. I play primarily offline. This is a whole experience, it's an offline experience. I think that's more important than talking about online, because when you talk about the online aspect of any game, your friends and you having fun with the people you know can make an online game that sucks. Talking about you, Call of Duty, seem a lot better than what it is. I played plenty of bad Call of Duties just because my friends was online and because they were there, we had a great time. But when they weren't there, I didn't play the game anymore because it wasn't good. Mario Kart World is the first Mario Kart in years where I'm saying I don't need to play with anybody. I'm actually having fun playing by myself, playing with the AI. It's good. That's the Grand Prix mode. It's traditional Mario Kart. Yes, driving between the different tracks is different, but not so different because you're driving like mostly on straight roads. So it's like when you get to a track, you know you're on the track because the tracks are themed and they have a bunch of different loop-de-loops and different platforming segments, and you could tell. But when you have to just drive on a regular road to the next track, it it's weird to explain. It sounds boring on paper, but it's almost kind of like a roller coaster. Like the tracks are like when you go all the way up and you drop, but then when you drive on the road to the next track, it's like when the ride smooths out, and then when you get to the track again, you're going back up and then you drop again. It feels like that. So it's not a bad experience, but I do think you will sit there and say to yourself, okay, when you're on like long stretches of just a road going forward with no bends, no nothing, you will sit there and say, this isn't all that interesting. But about time that clicks in my brain, now we're at the new circuit. Like it's so seamless though, how cool it is. You won't even realize, oh snap, we're actually at the new track. You'll just be driving and driving and think, Okay, when are we gonna get to the next track? And then you'll realize, oh, I'm in the next track because now I'm realizing I'm actually doing laps. Like, it's pretty cool. So I really enjoyed Grand Prix mode. Now, Knockout Tour is, I wish I guess they did it this way, but to make Knockout Tour stand out. Knockout Tour is kinda what I wish Grand Prix mode was, sorta. All Knockout Tour is that you start on one track and you keep driving and driving and driving, and you start, it's like 20 some mile racers, and every time you get to a particular checkpoint, you need to be in a certain position or you get bumped out the race, right? And this, there is no stopping. There is no breaks. You just got to keep, unless you pause the game, you got to keep driving. This is very fun. This could be very intense. This is probably like the best new thing they've introduced to Mario Kart. I don't know any other Mario Kart game that has this. This is the highlight of Mario Kart World when it comes to a main game mode. I really enjoy this mode. This is something that I think would be challenging for most people. The only thing to say is that it's a different spin on the Grand Prix, but it's not, it's a significant spin, but at the same time, you're still just kind of racing. You know what I'm trying to say? You're still, it's more intense. It feels like it's more of a pressure. Because any other Mario Kart, it's like you could be on the third lap in last place and feel like I can still catch up with items and all that other stuff. You can sometimes be so far behind, and unless you get a good item that push you in front, you're gonna get knocked out. So yes, it's a little bit more intense. It is a lot of fun. It just feels like Nintendo almost got there. And now let's get into the open world part. Again, it's fine. It's fun. It's good. But it just feels like Nintendo wanted to go that extra mile and just didn't do it to me. They felt like afraid to go further. Like, this almost feels like not even a prototype. This feels like Nintendo wanted to do something and it was like, we don't know if our audience is ready yet. Because when you're in the open, that's why I'm saying, like, when you're in the open world and you feel like, by the way, to get in the open world, you're at the main menu, you just press the start button, you're driving. When you see your character driving on the road, that's real gameplay going on. You just press the button, you're in the map. It's cool. But when you're in the open world, what can you do? You could drive around. You can even bump into other racers. If you're online, you could bump into other people, but I haven't experienced that. I'm playing offline. But you could bump into NPC racers. You got traffic all over the place. And you could find a lot of secrets. I've seen Nibbit, Nabbit, whatever that purple guy is from Mario. He's running around with coins. Collecting coins gets you new cars for the Grand Prix and other modes. You can drive to different Yoshi restaurants and unlock new costumes for your characters. But my favorite part are these challenges. You find the P blocks and you do these challenges, and everyone's saying, "Oh, these are like the Korok challenges from Breath of the Wild, or like the shrines from Breath of the Wild." Let me tell you something. This is gonna sound like blasphemy to some of y'all. This right here is way better than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. This is 10 times better, and I'm gonna tell you why. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they all start off the same. When you first boot those games up and you do the first couple of shrines on the plateau or in the Sky Islands, it feels like the creative juices are flowing. And after a while, Nintendo's like, okay, we kind of gotta like make everything feel not that hard because we don't know where the player might be at any given time. So we don't want to like make this shrine harder than that shrine because they might just have came here and they just started. They didn't do that with this. No, they just said this P block is going to be difficult and you deal with it. And I like that. I love that. That's great. Because there's this one particular one with these rails, these train tracks where you have to like hop between the railing of the track and the side of it and then land on a roof and then jump off the roof at the right angle just to get this coin in there and fly away. And I did this thing at least 50 times and kept falling off. I did it at least 50 times and kept failing. Matter of fact, what you're seeing me finally get it is actually me having to do it a second time because sadly for whatever reason, my OBS didn't record me doing it. Like, it recorded the end of me succeeding, but it didn't record the process. Whatever. But these are fun. When I find these P blocks, I'm beelining it. There's other secrets that you could find too. Like, there's actually question mark blocks on the ground, and you can find so many in a certain like stage or a map, and it's supposed to unlock something. Haven't seen what that done yet, but that's there to get. There's peach coins to find. I found one of them. Those are cool to find too. The only thing I will say is that this map is pretty big, and Nintendo does keep a tracker of like how many P block challenges you've completed. But I would like for them to do something where once you've found one, it marks it on the map. Because you might want to return, you can do them over again. And some of them are fun to want to do again. But because they're not marked on the map, it's like, well, where was it? Like when I had to get back to the one I was telling you about, the one where you have to jump on the railing. Once I beat it and I realized I didn't record it, I was like, I spent like at least an hour trying to figure out how I even got there because driving in this game in any mode is so smooth. And when you're driving in this open world and you're like going from rail to rail, driving off walls, bouncing off the street, drifting around corners, you'll just kind of get into a daze of just having fun driving, right? And then you don't even know how you ended up on the halfway across the map. So it's like it would be nice for me to be able to mark where certain things are, or the map marks it for me, so I can go back to challenges I would like to complete. But overall, the open world part is great. It just, what Nintendo should have done is mosey on down to EA, not even EA of today. Go to EA of the 2000s, Need for Speed Underground 2 era. Go over there and see what they did, because this goes into the price. I don't think Mario Kart World is worth $80. Not because it's the reason that's a tricky thing to say. I think you could pay $80 and say, this game has a lot of value, especially if you plan on playing online. But even if you're not, it has a lot of value. It's easy to pick up and play. It's a lot of fun. It runs great on the TV. It runs great portably. If you don't have a 120 FPS TV, it's 120 FPS on the Switch 2, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what it feels like. It's way smoother on my Switch 2 portably than it is on my TV. My TV is only 60 FPS. So I'm imagining it's running at 120 FPS, or just my imagination. Either way, it looks great though. It runs great no matter how you play it. So it's something you could take on the go, something you can play on your TV, something you can play with friends and family members when they come over. You can play online. It has a lot of stuff going for it. The reason why I'm saying it's not worth $80 is because it's not doing anything that racers from the 2000s and the PS2 era weren't doing. It's just now not Mario Kart's doing it. And because I know that, and I don't have like, I don't do this with any brand or company. I don't have this brand of, well, because it's, you know how somebody will say, like, if you know anything about sneakers, Nike can make a shoe and then they'll make another shoe under the Nike brand, but this is technically the cheaper version of Nike. It's literally the same shoe from the same factory and everything, but because it's the cheaper version, it's a cheaper price. I view this kind of the same way. It's not doing anything that any other racer hasn't been doing for decades, but because it's Nintendo and they know they can charge their customers $80 and y'all will pay for it, and that's essentially what they said, and you guys weren't, I guess they didn't care, that they basically said, yeah, we know you guys will pay for it because it's Mario Kart and we could charge however much we want, you'll buy it anyway. I just don't think it's worth that much money. I know what I'm saying isn't going to matter to most people. And the sad thing is Nintendo games rarely go on sale. So it's a high chance that even if it ever goes on sale, what you probably end up still paying like 70 or 60 for it, which I think 60 is reasonable. 60 is actually a great price for it. But yeah, $80 for this, it's hard. I can't say it's not worth it, but it's just like not worth it. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not worth it only because I got Need for Speed. What is it? Not Most Wanted. The one that came out on the PS5. I forgot what it's called. That game does this game is the same thing. It's that game actually has more content. It's more content. And it looks better. It's not a kart racing game, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's an open world racing game where there's stuff to buy, stuff to upgrade. There's challenges all over the map. You can drive from one end of the map to the other. Like, it's the same concept. And they actually weave in their story mode. There's actually a story, number one. There's no story in Mario Kart World, which I think Nintendo eventually needs to implement a story, Nintendo. I think that will help make these games better. Implement a story. Allow me to drive to different, like, still give me the option to go into a menu and just say, hey, I want to start a Grand Prix, let me start it. But if I wanted to drive to one, let me do that. If I wanted to drive and do a knockout tour, let me do that. Time trials. Now, this is another thing. Time trials are in the menu. I think time trials are a staple to any racing game, especially Mario Kart. You already can go to a track as you want to in the open world. Why can't I go to a track and then get to the starting line and say, like, there's an option to just start a time trial and then it just, bam, I'm doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or battle mode. I don't like how battle mode is like a whole separate entity. Battle mode is like, it just feels like it's a separate thing in itself. I think it would have been cool if somehow you mix battle mode into the open world aspect. If they just need to bring this all together. And we don't know when we're going to get a Mario Kart World 2, or even if they stick to the world concept, but they should bring this back. If they don't stick, they should stick to this concept, because I think the next game, they need to just look at what everybody else is doing and weave it all into one seamless experience, because it being separate just makes it feel awkward. It's not bad. You're still going to enjoy the game. It's still a fun game. It's still Mario Kart, and it says a lot, I think, for anyone who cares. For someone like me, who doesn't buy these games typically, because like I said, I think Mario Kart just leans too much into the multiplayer aspect and not providing a single player experience. I feel like I got a lot of single player content. There's tons of secrets and things to find in the open world. There's tons of things to unlock. There's the Grand Prix with many different cups to experience, the Knockout Tour with many different cups. Then after you beat all that stuff, there's even more cups. There's extra cups and special cups. There's there's 3 different tiers of racing. There's 50cc, 100cc, 120cc, whatever it's called, 152cc. That's all that stuff is there. So you have a lot to do. So for me, what I recommended as a quote unquote Mario Kart hater, I'm not really a hater, that's just a joke. But what I recommended, if you can get the bundle, yes, because you're paying $50. Would I say buy it for 80? Look, the only way I would say buy this for 80 is if you really like Mario Kart. But I'm not coming from that perspective. I'm coming from a perspective of someone that likes Mario Kart. I don't really like Mario Kart. If you really like it, then you'll pay whatever you want for it. If I begin to play online and enjoy that too, maybe then I will feel the 80 is a little bit more worth it. But even then, I just can't get it out of my head, guys. I play other racing games that do everything this game is doing and more, and they're like $60 to $70. I just can't get that out of my head. Sorry. But overall, the important thing is this: whether, what I think is worth is irrelevant. If all you want to know is Mario Kart World a good game? Yes. Especially when it comes to those open world miniature challenges that really test your skills. I love those. This is something that I think they tried to do with Breath of the Wild, but that game is too complicated that they had to dumb down challenges. It's a racing game. Either you know how to drive or you don't. So now they're just going crazy. Sometimes these things I actually haven't had any of them be easy. They're at least mildly challenging, if not hard. And I love that. And that's what makes them so fun and addictive. And when you finally beat one, I put my hands in there. I said yes, audibly screamed yes when I beat one. That's how much fun I was having. Please don't throw your hands in the air when you're playing portably, because you'll drop it. But when you're playing, when you're playing on the TV, you can do that. That'll be perfectly fine. Just don't drop your controller. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying your day. I'm going to continue to celebrate my birthday. Wish me a happy birthday in the comment section. Peace out, keep gaming. God bless. I hope you all are enjoying your Switch 2. And I hope you guys are enjoying gaming. Love you guys. I'm out.